Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Hope all is well. So the Fed cuts rates, and gold takes the dive right at 2 o'clock from 26.38 to 26.15 to 26.17 down to 25.90. It's sitting at 25.95 now. It'll be back to 26.30 by morning because now China's got it and they buy cheap. So let's talk about these rate hikes, then we'll get into football. So what the fuck happened here, right? What does this mean in English for you non-economist? All right, so the Fed lowers interest rates. What does that mean? They made money cheaper. We're in a recession, but they don't want to tell us that. And so it brings down interest rates, brings down the cost of money. So if you want to borrow, like for a car, you're more apt to buy now because rates went down. So you're more apt to spend. However, that's inflationary because you're printing more money. More money gets out there. The more we print, the less it's worth. So then why is gold going down? It's the derivatives. It's not real. Nobody sold an ounce of gold. Nobody ever does. This is the problem with the paper COMEX. It's again a buying opportunity. And I know it goes up and down and it's just derivatives. And I know it went to 26.40 and it's been sitting there for a week. Not to worry. That's okay. We're not in a hurry. Bitcoin lost like $5,000 today. Now that's different because that is people selling. That's the difference. When Bitcoin goes down, it's because people are selling. When gold goes down, it's a derivative by JP Morgan. He's trying to get out of it. Now there's an algorithm that says when the dollar goes up, automatically gold goes down. The dollar was up today, but I have no idea. It wasn't strengthened. When you lower interest rates, you weaken the dollar because you're going to print more money because you make money cheaper and therefore they print more of it. So nothing makes sense. The dollar didn't get stronger. And by the way, when the dollar gets stronger, it's not like the dollar increases in value. It just means the dollar's stronger against the Canadian or the euro or the British pound. All crap currencies. So it's not really like the dollar's stronger. Those currencies fell down even more. So let's understand this is all bullshit. Gold did not go down as far as real physical gold. This is paper derivatives. Then they're trying to get the hell out of them. Silver, $29.53. Gold, $25.95. So silver's the same thing. They're trying to get out of the derivatives, but there's too much buying going on to keep it from dropping. They are in trillions of dollars of silver derivatives that they have to get out of. They've shorted at $20, $25. It'll never see that again because there's too much demand for it. The way the market used to be rigged is people would they'd play the game, right? It was tier one. It wasn't tier one. Now it's Basel III. And it's basically you're fucked. Tier one means now it's as good as gold is the number one asset. And then Basel III means you got to settle the contracts. So there's no more of this bullshit getting out, just we sell to London sells it back and all that. No, there's too many people interrupting it. So you're not going to get that. So why they keep shorting the gold when there's such strong demand and they don't have any. The best part is we don't have any gold anyway. So we can't cover these contracts. That's the best part. Silver has not gone there yet, as I showed you yesterday with Mark McGuire. It hasn't gone tier one and it hasn't gone Basel III. So they're still playing the game with silver. because they're in all these trillions of dollars of derivatives that have gone bad and they have no way out. They need the price to drop. It's not free market. We understand that. So when it does drop, we know it's not because of free market. It's not because people sold. This is not people buy, the price goes up, people sell, the price goes down. This is JP Morgan determining the price and Russia, China saying, fuck you, we're going to raise the price. We're gonna buy all the gold. And that's what's happening. So that's why gold, yeah, 25.95, it'll be back, soon back to 2650, 2700. And sooner than later, it'll be at 3,000, 3,500, just because of demand for the gold. That's what'll do it. So we understand it, but it's not something. Now the stock market went down $1,100 right after this idiot announced it, because he knows it's inflationary. Everybody knows it's inflation, so I don't understand why the dollar went up. How could the dollar go up in value when you just lowered interest rates and you're going to print more that you already can't, it's already printed to death. So again, this is what we're dealing with, algorithms and bullshit trading, not real trading, not free market. So you understand that, and you just don't get excited. It'll go up. It's the only thing worth anything. All this is not backed by anything. This is just fucking toilet paper. This is monopoly money. This isn't real. So you got to understand that. So when it goes down, nobody sold an ounce of gold. If anything, people will buy now that it's $25.95. I'm more apt to go to the gold store again tomorrow. I get my paycheck and I'll be off. Hey, Luke. It's all going down, Luke. Yep, it's all going to zero. Everything's going to zero. All the paper stuff. All this is going to zero, and this is going to zero, and the stock market was down 1,000, and Bitcoin was down 5,000. What I can't understand is, so it tells me that since everything went down, these people need money, is what it tells me. So when you get to the point where people need their money, then there's a lot of layoffs going on. There's a lot of bullshit. So when people need money, they sell. They sell their assets, the stocks, the gold, and who knows who's selling it. It could be the Germans, it could be the UK, it could be the Chinese who are dumping their dollars. For it to go down 1,000 right at 2:00, this Powell is an idiot. He shouldn't be fucking around with interest rates at this point. So he's trying to make Trump look bad, I assume, because it's very inflationary what he did. I was showing you Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff does not understand or know what inflation is. He'll say, well, I don't know what inflation is, but it's all about the purchasing power of the dollar going down. That is inflation, you idiot. What a moron. Anyway, Luke, the whole freaking thing, everyone is leveraged out of their ass in debt. Exactly. That's why you own gold, because there's no debt in gold. That's the point of gold. There's no debt. There's no counterparty risk, they like to say, which means that the bank doesn't own it and there's no creditors. So you own a gold. All your silver is clear, is free and clear. You own it. You don't owe anybody. Nobody owes you. You have it. And that's the way out of debt, is to have things where there's no debt. And of course, we know credit card issues. We know the 36 trillion in debt. You can't Bitcoin out of it because you don't own the government owns the money, and they flood the market with this, right? So they could print 36 trillion and pay the debt down, although they'd need if they printed 36 trillion to pay the debt, it would be all over, it'd be worthless. But you can't use Bitcoin because the government doesn't own it. So if everybody individually owns it, how can you use it to pay off the debt? You don't have it. It's not yours unless you take it. You can't print Bitcoin because it's limited and it can't be printed. It can only be bought. And you can't buy it all because it's already out there. This idiot, who's the idiot who keeps buying it? Sailor, he keeps buying it. Well, he owns it. You can't, do anything with it. Bitcoin seems to be following the dollar printing, goes with the S&P. Well, I don't know that why would there be a correlation to stocks? See, Bitcoin, what you got to understand is now that they're doing ETFs, Mr. Larry Fink, you know how ETFs work. There's a lot more than 21 million now because he prints, 10 million of ETFs to cover, 5 million of Bitcoin or whatever. That's what they do with gold, right? They do more. The COMEX does more gold than there is in the world on the derivatives and the options because they're doing so many of them. Because it's all leveraged, and ETFs are not good. They're very bad. Exchange traded funds, but how is there a fund for Bitcoin? Where did that come from? Bitcoins are supposed to be, I bought a Bitcoin, I don't have it in my hand because it doesn't exist, but that's what they're doing. So Larry Fink's fucking it up. I guarantee it. We'll see, but it's a bad situation when the stock market, and why would the stock market, Bitcoin and the gold all go down today? It works in reverse. Why is the dollar out? You're printing more dollars because you've lowered the interest rate. Why would the dollar go up in value? It should go down. It's not good. So a lot of bullshit. This is why the banks run the government, right? They fuck around with everybody. This is why you must be out of paper. Everybody in paper, look, stocks, Bitcoin, real estate trust, I'll get hit today. The whole system got hit. Gold, it's derivative. We know physical didn't get hit at all because it's not, it doesn't, nobody sold an ounce of gold today. If anything, it's up to 2,600 now. So it's ready to move back up and it's a good buying opportunity. Gold's out. When gold goes down, it's a good buying opportunity because it's never going down because it's out of favor or people are selling it or the president of the gold died or committed a crime, like the president of Coca-Cola or Bill Gates. If he goes to jail, Microsoft tanks, but you can't go to jail for gold. So that's where we're at. So no, that's the beautiful thing about gold and silver. All this idiot, Powell doing whatever he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and neither here goes, so people are probably, you're going to see the stock market really get crushed because people are now really realizing the dollar's worthless and they have dollars. So if I'm a Chinese guy and I got $1 million in the stock market, I want to get it the hell out because it's in dollars and I want it in gold. So I'm going to sell my stock, including the gold miners, if he owns any, and I'm going to bring it home and buy gold with it. If he can find gold, which he probably can't. The silver shorts are criminal too. Well, those are derivatives that the banks are stuck in. They shorted it at 20, at 22, at 25, at 26. And so they keep trying to get back, but there's too much buying. Why you would short instead of go long is because it shows you how stupid these idiots are. This is why you can't really trust these bankers or these financial planners or any of these idiots. They don't know shit. And most of them are Keynesians. So when I'm listening to Bloomberg on my lunch hour, where I take a break, I'm listening to Keynesians. And then I see all these idiots come up and they run this fund and they run that fund. And I just shake my head and I go, these guys are idiots. I wouldn't put my money into any of these funds. None of them know what's going on. The only fund you be in is gold because you can't fuck with it. You can't derivative it. Yeah, there's paper gold. That's bullshit, but we're talking physical and you can't fuck with it and it'll always be fine. Doesn't matter. It kind of scares me. The Buffett is sitting in cash while everyone falls. He'll buy it all back with what? Oh, his monopoly money? The fact that Buffett's out of the market should tell you be careful in the market, right? But he's doing it wrong. He should be in gold. But his thought on gold is you dig it out of the ground to put it back in the ground and it's useless. And he just doesn't get it. It is not useless. It's real money. It's extremely limited and it's highly demanded. He doesn't understand economics. That's what you live for. You look for something that's very limited, that can't be printed with a high demand. The price will go to the moon. That's very, very easy to follow, right? So he thinks, well, it just sits in the ground. Yeah, it would if the dollar was backed by gold or if the dollar they didn't print to death. The problem is you're dealing with idiots running this and it's not backed by anything. And so if he was really that smart, he would realize this is not backed by anything. It's going to zero. That's what he would realize. That's what we realize. This is the problem. It's worthless. It's not backed. They keep printing it. They're flooding the market. Nobody wants it. All the central banks are getting out of it and buying gold. What does that tell you? No demand means the price is going down. Nobody wants it. No value. That's what it means to me. So they can sit there and Powell can do this interest rate shit, which doesn't mean anything. There's a big recession we're in already. They just won't say it because of the election. More people are being laid off. Canada's broke. England's broke. Germany's broke. Italy and France are broke. So, oh yeah, they're all Keynesians doing the same fucking thing, printing the money to nothing and putting all the social programs. Well, we'll have Social Security and welfare and we'll feed the poor and the homeless and, free medical to everybody. How are you going to get the money? Oh, we'll just print it because you know what? We can just keep printing. It doesn't matter if we stop, we don't have to stop. We can just keep printing and printing and printing. But the value goes to zero. Oh, no, I didn't hear that memo. No, Keynes didn't say that. He just said to keep printing. He didn't say that it would go to zero, which is the problem when you don't back your money. So we're fine. This is just a bullshit thing, but I think it's getting pretty close to the end for the dollar, and the economy is going to really shit, and people are needing money. I think that's why you see Bitcoin going down and the stocks going down. The stocks going down are people getting out, going into gold. The Bitcoin, I have no idea because everybody loves Bitcoin and it's going to go to $1 billion, but we're not sure what currency because the dollar won't be around for the Bitcoin. But when you see things drop, it's because people need money. And they're all leveraged, as you say, Luke, in the stock market. So when they do a margin call, you got to come with the money. So you got to sell your other assets. Wondering what Stanley Duncan-Miller is doing. He seems to have been on point for years. I don't know who that is, Stanley Druckenmiller. Is he an economist? Is he an investor? Hey, Todd. Placed my bets in going back Friday to casino to place the big game bets. Thanks for the locks. Did you see finally? Oh, I saw it. I'm this close to locking Atlanta, especially against the Giants, and they get Drew Lock. You're going to see a whole different team with Penix. Look at Bo Nix and Daniels, how good they are. Penix is better than both of them. We see Caleb struggling. I have to laugh at that. I called that. That was so easy to call. There is one game that we'll point out to you. It's the Coastal Carolina UTSA game. The whole Coastal Carolina team's not playing, or most of them are transferring. The first two quarterbacks are gone. So I did play UTSA, and that's why you'll notice I played it a few more times because McCown's playing, but I'm seeing this is ridiculous. I'm seeing coaches. Cal's two quarterbacks are out tonight. Uh, Sam Houston, their coach is gone. Their quarterback. I mean, it's like a joke. Ohio, Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State's coach is Rich Rodriguez went back to West Virginia. The quarter. How do they do that? You're having a bowl game and the coach is leaving and the quarterback's leaving. So I am noticing that. So you'll see I did play that Cal UNLV game under because Cal's just going to run the ball because they don't have a quarterback. And then again, UTSA, Coastal Carolina, it's UTSA. McCown he's strong, and Coastal Carolina doesn't have anybody anyway. I just don't understand how the coach leaves and the court. Everybody goes in the transfer portal now. I mean, it's so fucking stupid. Why do you do that? I don't get why you can't do it after the bowl games. So no wonder who wants to go to a bowl game, who wants to watch a bowl game. How the hell do you bet the bowl games? Now you got to be able to catch that Rodriguez is gone. Okay, we're going to bet against Jacksonville State, but otherwise, I mean, okay, the playoff games, those are the realistic ones. I do have a lot going in the on Saturday. I played all 4 of the playoff games because I know I can trust the players. I think they'll all be close, but Texas, I think, will dominate Clemson like Georgia did. But I think all 3 of the dogs are live in the other games. We'll see. I didn't bet all dogs, but sometimes I bet totals. You know how that goes. Margin call, great word. Thank you, Luke. You did see that, Todd. Yeah. I was busy this afternoon looking. Alex sent me this thing on guys sitting out. Thank you, Alex. And I was going through these games. I'm not really worried about the playoffs because coaches aren't leaving and players aren't sitting out playoffs. But it's these little games, and that's where you get in trouble is you bet based on the season, and then the whole team is in the transfer portal, which is ridiculous. So what you're getting is these little teams like Marshall, their whole fucking team's in the transfer portal. They were going to play Army. They dropped out. What the hell is that? They dropped out of the bowl game. That's how meaningless it is. So they drop out, and then L Tech comes in to play Army. Now, nobody in Army's transferring. I don't think they can. But this transfer portal, why do they do it now? Why don't you do it after the bowl, at the end of January? Then the kids can transfer, but not now. That's just, I don't even understand it. It's so stupid. Anyway. Yeah, Luke, margin call is, well, that's what happens, right? When you're highly leveraged, means you bought $10 to run $100 worth of stock, but it's okay when the stock goes up, but when the stock goes down, like in the 1929s, when the stock drops, you got to cover the margin. And then where do you get the money? And then you got to go sell your assets, which I think is happening now. Although nobody's selling their gold because it's derivatives, right? Nobody has derivative gold to sell but JP Morgan. So that's why, and maybe JP Morgan was doing derivatives because they need money. They're going to get killed. So we will see, but I think that's a lot of it. As soon as Powell announced it, they realized that's bad for the dollar. It's inflationary, which is already there. You're not getting rid of the inflation. I don't know how you can grow it. I guess you're printing more money. Like we can just keep printing and printing and printing. Is that what they think? This is how stupid these people are in charge of our money. Well, not my money. My money is gold and silver. So I was talking to my friend. I get paid tomorrow. And I was talking to my friend about gold and, trying to explain it to him. He doesn't really get it. And I said, well, all I'm doing is trading my money. I'll take, $2,800 and turn it into gold. I'll do my Rumpelstiltskin. Only now it's 2,600. I'll only need 2,700. and you buy gold with it. I go, I'm only trading it. If I need the money, I can take the gold back to the store. He'll give me back whatever its spot is, 2,700, and I get 2,700 for it, and I get my money back if I need it. But if I don't need it, then I wait till gold goes to 3,500 and then to 10,000. And then, if I don't need it, I'm not selling it, but it's a beautiful asset. It's beautiful wealth. You don't have to worry about it. Worst case, you give it to your kids. It's much better than a will. My mom dies. I got 1,250 on a partial payment and 250 on the final payment. And I guess when she sold her house, she gave the money to my brother and sister, let's say, behind my back. And because the attorney said, well, there was a big settlement that was a will, not in the trust. So I'm going, how the hell do I get 250? She had a $500,000 house. Like, where's that money? And I know it was paid for because it was 30, 35 years old. And so that's the point. And then there's taxes and everything else. But if you're in a trust, if you have gold, hey, here's 10 ounces of gold, Charlie, my son, my daughter, here you go. Here's 10 ounces of gold. Go enjoy. No record, no tax, nothing. And then the kid will be set because it's never going down because it can't, because it's gold. Army will win that game. Yeah, but we got a 16-point spread, 16 or 17. But yeah, I think Army is really pissed about losing the Navy, and they killed Tulane, so it was such a shock that they lost the Navy. But I think Army will play, and they got a really good coach. And I agree with you. I think Army wins the game. But that's already on the 28th, so we got 10 days for that one. So I'm kind of going bit by bit. The playoffs are this Friday, Saturday. Then they go to the first. Will be the next group of playoffs. I think the 31st and the first. Because I see the 31st, there's Alabama, Michigan, Louisville, Washington, Baylor, LSU. Nothing on the first. So I assume the playoffs are at the first. With the next grouping, I think these are very competitive games, except for Texas, Clemson. I don't think will be. The other three are easily, if it's not an upset if the dog wins. Fresno State, Mikey Keene in the transfer portal. I don't know why. I don't know where he's going. But you just got to look at that, and that's what's happening. Oklahoma's quarterback, who sucked anyways in the transfer portal. So you just keep your eye on the guys. I don't see Daggio Pavia. I don't see in the transfer portal. So you just, I'm going to be curious if I get a real Iowa State Miami game, it's a lock. But I'm afraid Cam Ward won't play. He'll get ready for the pros, and that'll fuck the game up. So we'll have to see. But and why is BYU playing Colorado? It'd be like Michigan playing, Purdue in a bowl game. Like, what's the point? So you got to look at that. So I enjoy bouncing back and forth. Keene was a disappointment. Keene, who's Keene? Boss Keene from Cool Hand Luke. Who's Keene? But yeah, so the bowls you got to be careful with. You got to wait once they're announced, then you can kind of sort it out. Now I do have all my trends on it in my analysis, so I still know Ohio's an under team with a really strong defense, and Georgia Southern, Sam Houston, half the team's out. And like tonight, Cal UNLV, Cal should be, they should be on their third string quarterback. Mendoza is in the transfer portal, and the backup, I think, is hurt. So, that's what you got. Vegas, I don't know. They both have strong defenses anyway. So we'll see. But it's kind of like you'll have to play it as soon as you find out the transfer portal news, and go from there. Oh, Mikey Keene. Yeah, add an E to the end. That's Keene. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't have running. When you looked at their stats, there was no running. So he's just back to pass. Who knows if the receivers got injured or weren't playing? He looked good against Michigan in the first week, who we saw had a pretty good defense. Um, I don't know. I'm surprised because he had a good year last year. So sometimes you get changes in coordinators or changes in other things, and then the running back gets hurt. So now you don't have that balance. That's what the key is, really looking for a balanced offense. You can run. I mean, look at the Lions. They can run, they can throw. They're making golf look good. Philadelphia with Barkley, Baltimore with the big fella. Um, that's really what you're looking for. Mahomes, I don't know if I think the line moved that he's playing, but he's still really not. He's day to day, and they haven't really decided if he's going to play. So if the doctors, according to Reed, if the doctors clear him and he's okay to go and he's ready to play, he'll play. So they don't rest him. The question is, how strong is his ankle? It's a high ankle sprain, but it's not severe. But that means you broke your bone on the top of your ankle. I don't know why they call it a sprain. It's a break, but you don't need it to walk, I guess, or I don't know. Fortunately, I haven't had too many high ankle sprains, but we'll see if he does play. They're playing Houston, who needs the game, but who's not really that good. So we'll see if we play it. I haven't played that game yet. I played a boatload of pros. So, you know, I don't know. I'm coming off a 9-2, 10-0, 10-2, 10-0 run. I'm 29-2. So, act accordingly. So, Todd, if you want everything, just give me another 100 because you've already given me the 100 on the bowls, and you can get everything through the Super Bowl, the pro games, and then anybody else who has paid for the bowls, it's just another 100 extra for all the games to the Super Bowl. And if you haven't done that, it's funny. I get some guys that just want to pay me weekly. I don't know if it's like us, they're superstitious or what, but I got a lot of people that just, no. I know I can pay you for the month or whatever. And they don't want it. They just keep paying me weekly. And I'm like, okay. So that's out there. That's what the 200 is. So let's go through the lines now. So I think I have 4 locks in the pros. 2603. So we're starting. And what happens at 6 o'clock? The Chinese come in. So the Asians start buying at 6 o'clock, and here we go, 2603. Silver 2949. And I'm not worried about either of them. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the line. All right, so we've got Kel, UNLV. I already told you I think Kel. I know Mendoza's out. I think the backup's out, and they're going to be running. We got Vegas is now up to 3.5 from 2.5, and the total is down to 45. So I wasn't the only one who read it, but I got it in before the total dropped. Georgia Southern 4.5. See, now you understand why as soon as I see it, I bet it. I don't wait till game time. I had 48 on that game. I bet it, knowing it's going to go down. That's why sometimes I'm in a hurry to put my locks in, knowing where the spreads are going to go and wanting to get it in at a better line. And I've made a lot of money for us doing that. Georgia Southern 4.5, 48.5 to Sam Houston. That has gone down from 6. I don't think I played this game. But Sam Houston's coach, I believe, left. Ohio is 4.5, 56.5. This actually went up from 54. I'm not quite sure why. If Rich Rod's gone, maybe he's coaching the final game. I don't know. Florida, 11.5, 49.5, down from 13.5. So there must be some Florida players sitting out. But now we get to the meat where nobody's sitting out. So we got Notre Dame, 7.5, 52 to Indiana. That line really hasn't changed. It's been 7.5, 51.5. Penn State, 8.5, 54.5, 54. That number hasn't moved. Texas, 11.5, 12, 51.5. That number hasn't moved. And Ohio State, 7.5, 46.5. And that number really hasn't moved. So I have played all four of those games. I have locked one of them. And we will see. So at least we know we've got honest games there. So what are they going to do? Make a playoff with 50 teams so everybody plays? I mean, it's so stupid. All right, we'll go to the 23rd. UTSA's up to 10, as I thought it was. That's why you see me getting in an early, Todd. 10 and 55.5. And then Fresno State without Mikey Keene, Northern Illinois is 3 and 40. That number hasn't changed, so they might have already factored in Mikey Keene. We'll do a couple more. San Jose State, 3.5, 60.5. Basically stayed. Pitt, 751. That basically has stayed. Kansas State, 750.5. That line has basically stayed. Bowling Green, 750.5. That line is the same. And then we'll do Oklahoma Navy. Oklahoma, we know the quarterback's out. He transferred. 4.5, 43.5. Wow, this was 8.5. We're getting Oklahoma down to 4.5. All right, that's a big change. Georgia Tech, 2.5, 51.5 to my Vanderbilt. That's pretty much the same. Arkansas, some of this number changed. Morton's out, the Texas Tech quarterback. BYU is, or BYU, Arkansas, 254.5. So this was Texas Tech 3, is now Arkansas 2, and was 58, it's now 54.5. And the quarterback's out, and the question is, how good's the backup for Texas Tech? Syracuse, wow, this number went from 7.5 to 14, 59.5. So this is, I would assume the Washington State quarterback's not playing, but I'll double check that. That's too bad. I wanted to bet that game over. Fuck. And A&M, 3.5, 51.5. That stayed. That's it for now, because the other was, it's pointless unless, then we'll hear somebody else is not playing or they've in the transfer portal. This is the stupidest polls things I've ever seen. However, if you get the news, as I do, then we can bet accordingly, like I did with UTSA and then this under tonight on Cal Vegas. All right, let's get to the meat where they're not going into the porthole. Can you imagine the NFL? What do you mean Mahomes is in the portal? Yeah, he's going to Cleveland. Could you imagine that? Oh my God. All right, we start off tomorrow. San Diego is pretty much 2.5, 42.5. That number really hasn't changed. Should be a very good game. I have played this pretty good. Not a lot. KC's now 3.5 and 42. Now, I still haven't officially heard Mahomes is playing. So I don't know. I was going to play it under without Mahomes because they still have a killer defense, Kansas City. But with Mahomes, it's a different play. And then I don't know, maybe you play KC, but I haven't gone that far yet. Pitt, Baltimore. Baltimore is 6.5, 45.5, up from 44.5. Yeah, I do think there'll be points. Baltimore's an over team. They don't really have a good defense, and they have a good offense. And Pitt can light it up with Russell Wilson now. So, yeah, it's a double play, basically. I think just about any time I see Cincinnati or Baltimore, it's an over, basically. Although I got burned in the Philadelphia game, so I was a little pissed about that. Atlanta, 7.5, 8.5, 42. Michael Penix. So there's a 7.5 and a 42. So this was 40 to 41, now 42. So at FanDuel, 7.5. Caesars, it's 8.5. Atlanta, they're going to put up a lot of points with Penix. This guy's just very accurate. Cincinnati, 7.5, 47 to Cleveland. They're still mathematically in it, although they can't really. San Diego plays Denver. One of them's got to win, and Baltimore, okay, they might lose to Pittsburgh, but they're going to win one of their couple of games left. So Cincinnati's basically out of it, but mathematically they're still in it. The Lions, 6.5, 48. Really hasn't moved against the Bears. I watched that Chicago, Minnesota game from Monday night on YouTube, and the Bears coach is in way over his head. They made him the interim. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Caleb's problem is you cannot run a pass route with Caleb, because if you remember Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, he told them take 3 steps, throw, take 5 steps, throw, not dance around in the pocket and go to the right and go to there. How the hell can you have a timing pattern with that? So Montana would take 3 steps back and hit Jerry Rice in stride, or he'd hit Dwight Clark in stride, or he'd take 5 steps, and it was a longer pattern. It was just as soon as you hit that 3rd step, throw it. How the hell can Caleb do that? He's as soon as he goes back, he's seeing the pressure, not the receivers, and then he just starts dancing around. He's clueless. He has no idea what he's doing. None. He can't read a defense. He can't do anything. He is just totally in. You think Bryce Young's over his head. This guy's also over his head. Now, Detroit really pissed about losing. After a loss, this Campbell, not a really good coach, but he's a good motivator. The offense is still in one piece, so they should light up the Bears pretty good. But my worry is Detroit can't stop a high school team, so we'll see what they do with the Bears. But the Bears don't really have the, if they were playing a good quarterback, Aaron Rodgers even, or Mahomes, they'd be in big trouble. Or Herbert, or Bo Nix, Daniels, they'd be in big trouble. But it's Caleb, so they'll just bliss the shit out of him, I'd imagine. All right, Indy, 3.5, 42.5 to Tennessee. Carolina, 4.5, 47. It's about the same. Arizona, I mean. Philly, 3.5, 45.5 to Washington. That's an important game for both teams. Washington's trying to catch them or secure the playoff berth, because Minnesota and Green Bay and Detroit have 2 of the 3. Philly's got the division probably, and then the NFC West is one by survives, and the same thing in the AFC South. Looks like Tampa and the Rams probably over Seattle. Those 2, and then that leaves Washington as the playoff team. But you're starting to get 8. They're 9-5, and you're starting to get 8 and 6s. The Rams, 346.5 to the Jets's. Stafford against Rodgers. That's a good game. the Jets scored, but it was on Jacksonville last week. The Rams have just been lighting it up. They're just so with Stafford and with Pukanuka and all the guys there, it's just too much. Very hard to defend now in today's NFL. That's so bad. Let's see. Okay. I'm just marking some of my locks. I haven't marked them as lock. So I write lock on my sheet. Superstitious. All right. So the Rams and the Jets, two good quarterbacks. Rams must win. The Jets are out of it. Minnesota, Seattle. This is a playoff game. Minnesota's looking for the 1 seed. Seattle is trying to win their division. Mini is 3 and 43.5. And it's going to be raining all game like the Green Bay Detroit game was in Green Bay. So we will see what to do on that. I mean, as we know, Mini is 28-3 in a teaser. So we want to bet Mini every week. But we'll see how the rain affects them. But you can't guard Jefferson and Addison. You can't guard it. Buffalo 14-46.5. Buffalo still trying to catch the 1 seed. It's going to be cold there. That's the only problem there. It's like 10 degrees, but there won't be snow. The only real problem I see is the rain is going to be, it's going to be cold in Buffalo and it's going to be rain in Seattle. And that's it. Everything else is fairly mild. Detroit, Chicago's 30 degrees and calm. It's not even going to be windy there. Oakland 140 to Jacksonville. This line keeps going. Oakland 1, Jacksonville 1. We'll see. I got to see who the quarterbacks are. Miami 144 to the Niners. The Niners must win the game. This is like do or die. So many injuries, but Greenlaw came back. Bosa played last week. So we'll see. Miami, they're probably out of it. Maybe I think they're out of it because you've got San Diego and Denver with 9 wins, I think, and then and Baltimore with 10. So I don't see Miami getting in there. The second rate, Miami, Cincinnati, they're just too far out, and you just need all these teams to lose every game. Well, San Diego plays Denver. It's hard for them to both lose when they play each other. Dallas, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is 48.5. Tampa is right now in first place, has to just keep winning. Dallas is out of it, but they look really good with Cooper Rush. He finds CeeDee Lamb all day. And Green Bay 42.5. To New Orleans, I would imagine Rattler. We're waiting on Oakland, who their quarterback is. And then the Giants are going, I heard, with not Boyle, but whatchamacallit, Locke. So going through the playoff scenario, Denver, San Diego, it's a playoff game. But they're both in, but it should be a very good game. Knicks against Herbert. Now, they played earlier, and San Diego kind of beat them at Denver, and then Denver scored a late touchdown to lose by 7. But I think it's a whole different now. Knicks, that was 4 or 5 weeks in. Now Knicks has played. He's got a much better feel of the offense. Look at last week. He threw 3 interceptions and came back with 3 touchdowns. So I watched the highlights of that game. I wondered what happened in the fourth quarter. Denver all of a sudden took off, and then the Indy runner drops the ball at the goal line on a sure touchdown. And I couldn't really get a good angle to see that he actually let go. Obviously, he let go of it at the one, but what is he thinking? Uh, so they got a pick six. They got a punt return down to the 10. Um, and I think they got another turnover. So it was a lot of turnovers by Richardson, who started having, once he has to pass, forget about it. So Denver's still with the killer defense. So does San Diego. So this is a good playoff game. Knicks against Herbert. Uh, we'll go through so they're both 18 defenses. Denver's 13-1 in the teaser this year. They are both 25-6 in teasers the last 2 years. However, play against San Diego is also 25-6. Now, yes, we did not have Harbaugh coaching. So if we go this year, they're 12-2. And if we go this year with Denver, they're 13-1. So the rookie quarterback is not hurting them. Houston, KC, Stroud against, we believe, Mahomes. Otherwise, it's going to be Carson Wentz. We're not sure yet, but the fact that the line's 3.5 shows you that it's probably Mahomes. Houston 12-2 in a teaser. Play against Houston 12-2 in a teaser. So they play a bunch of close games. KC, very strong defense against Spagnuolo, 19 defense. Houston's a 21. But Stroud doesn't do much. They don't score a lot with Stroud. And KC's a pretty, they win at home, but they're usually laying 10 and they win by 6 because this isn't college. They're not trying to win by 20. Pitt, Baltimore. Pitt's 12-2 in a teaser. Wilson against Lamar. Pitt's the 18 with the 19 defense. Baltimore's a little bit more of an over team. They score a lot, but the weak 24 defense, especially against the pass. I don't know what to do because Baltimore didn't score much on Philly, and the first game against Pitt, they didn't score at all. It was 18-10, and Pitt didn't score on them. Pitt got a lot of field goals, so I don't know what to do with this game. This should be an easy over, but not when you play an 18-16 game, so have to rethink that. The Giants, Atlanta, again, we got Penix, so we can't use any trends. The only trend we can use is play against the Giants 12-2 this year as they play musical chairs. Locke will be the starter, and the Giants are basically a Z team. They basically don't score, but Atlanta doesn't really have the defense, so this will be interesting. New England, Buffalo. New England, W. Drake May going against an A team in Buffalo. 22 defense that didn't show up last week. And Josh Allen. Buffalo is 13-1 in a teaser this year. But it's a big number, 14. You know how I hate these 17, 15, 16 double digits. It's hard to say because of the cold. Now, Buffalo's used to it, so is New England, but still 10 degrees is 10 degrees. So a little bit, you gotta dig into this one. Cleveland, Cincy. Cleveland, a Z team, 26 defense. Winston, who's just throwing a ton of interceptions. Cincinnati, an over team, bad defense, 28, but you got Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Play against Cincy is 12-2 this year. Because even when they are winning, they're playing a lot of close games. They lost to Baltimore by a point each time. In Kansas City, they should have won. They should have won Baltimore game and the Kansas City game. How they, now we understand why they lost to Washington, but they should never have lost to. I don't remember the first game was against New England. How the hell do you lose to New England? So it's just been a weird season for Cincinnati, but they got the best. Burrow, Chase, they're the best. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be, it should be like 35 in Cincinnati. So weather is only in Seattle that we got to worry about, like a snowstorm or real windy. It's not real windy anywhere. So again, Cincinnati's kind of out of it, but we'll see. Detroit, Chicago. Detroit, the A team with the 20 defense, but it's been going from 17 to 18 to 19 to 20. and you gave up 100 points. You gave up 34 to Green Bay. You weren't too bad, and then you face Josh Allen. That's what I'm saying. You get Caleb this week. Golf against Caleb. Detroit 10-1 as a road favorite, probably the last 2 years. In a teaser, they're good, but they're not like 13-1 or 14-0 or anything this year. They did have, losing to Buffalo, lost to Seattle. Most of the time but they do cover a lot. They just run it down your throat, and the defense is pretty good, but now they got such bad defenders. I don't know. Tennessee, Indy. Tennessee is Z team. Indy and under. Indy needs it. They can still catch Houston. Rudolph, I don't know. I'm assuming Rudolph's going to start, because if you can't pull Levis and then go back to him, especially the game Rudolph had. So I'm assuming it'll be Rudolph against Richardson. Richardson coming off of his 3-interception game. He's good to run the ball. You got that first touchdown, 25-yard touchdown, and then as the game gets out of hand, he has to throw, boom, interception. Although the one pick six was not even him. It was like a trick play, so he threw it to the receiver, and then he was throwing it back but didn't read the defense, and the guy intercepted it. And because they didn't run the play right. It was so obvious it was going back to Richardson that the safety saw that, and then when the ball came, he just jumped the thing. So it wasn't Richardson's interception, actually. What can I say? Play against Tennessee, 12-2. Play against Indiana, 26-5. Play against Indiana this year, 14-0. But how do you go with Tennessee? Now, maybe I would go with them with Rudolph more than I would with Levis. It's 3.5 Houston and a 42.5. And I don't know. Indy, I think, has a pretty good defense. They held Bo Nix to like 110 yards or 120. He didn't have a big day till the fourth quarter. But you had a punt return and a pick six. That was 14 of your points there. Arizona, Carolina. Carolina, a Z team, 30 defense. They suck. Bryce Young's terrible. Arizona, an under team. 4.5, 46 is the line with Kyler Murray. Play against Carolina, 12-2 as a home dog. Play against Carolina the last 2 years, which you can do because you've had Steve Young there for 2 years, 26-5. I'm digging up a bunch of these, like these teasers are getting gold now, because it's like you're getting 13-1 all over the place, and then you're getting bet against 13-1s all over the place. So Carolina bet against 26-5 since last year. Of course, the best is still Minnesota, 28-3 to bet on, but it just shows you the teaser trends don't always work, but fuck, they're working now. I'll tell you that. Philly and Washington. Philly, I think they clinched the division. If they beat them, they're still going for the 1 seed. Philly's going to try. Washington, they're kind of slipping a little, letting Spencer Rattler run down the field on them. I saw that play at the end of the game. It's 4th and 3 at the 7 with 20 seconds left and no timeouts. And he throws the ball. The guy makes the catch, gets caught at the 1. The ref does stop the clock for like 2 seconds. Not a lot, but why is he stopping it? I didn't see, unless I had no idea. The guy's at the 2, the clock. I don't know if the clock would have run out. I don't know what happened. Did he spike? Maybe he spiked the ball, but yeah, they had 17 seconds when they started, so they had enough time to spike it. But yeah, it wasn't like the guy said where they stopped the clock for 5 seconds. I thought that's what happened. No, it was a very quick 1 or 2 second. I don't know what the ref was doing, stopping the clock. He's stopping the clock to set the ball down, and like, no, this is the pros, buddy. So again, an official in way over his head. Just like the government, half the people there are in over their heads. Anyway, So you got Philly 11-3 in a teaser, Washington 12-2. Hurts against Daniels. Daniels looks great. Um, Philly's been just very strong, beating Baltimore, beating everybody. An 18 defense, Washington at 23. Washington's close to being an A. Philly's just a little bit better because of Barkley. Washington doesn't have that killer runner, except for Daniels. That's who the killer runner is. The Rams and the JETSs. Rams are becoming an over team with the 24 defense. The Jets are kind of an under team with the 23 defense. However, I'm noticing Rodgers starting to hit Devontae Adams more. So they're not really like an under team like Tennessee with no quarterback. So Rodgers, I think, will have a pretty good day against this Ram defense. And I would expect Stafford to have a pretty good day against this JETS defense. We got the Rams 5-0 as a road favorite, 26-6 since last year, and play against the JETSs this year, 13-1. Now the trouble is LA crossing the country, but they've been playing really good. You won't see a 12-6 game like you saw against the Niners in this one. So we'll see, but I think I wish the Jets were favored. It would be a lock on the Rams, but it's not. So but I can't lock the Jets. I don't want to bet against the Rams here. So we'll see. Minnesota, Seattle. This is a playoff game. Both teams must have it. Minnesota can, if the Lions lose, I can't imagine them losing to the Bears. Could lose to the Niners if the Niners are still in it. And then they got Minnesota at home. They're going to have trouble if they got this, and these guys are injured on Detroit. They're injured. They're out for the year. I mean, very few of them are like coming back. But Minnesota 343 in the rain. Darnold against, I don't know. Is it going to be Thurston Howell? This looks like it'll be Geno Smith because the line's 3, but we'll see. Minnesota, as you know, 28-3 in a teaser, 13-1 in a teaser, by the way, this year. 9-1 is a road favorite. Play against Seattle as a home dog, 6-0. This is all Minnesota. The rain, is that really going to be a big factor? And then how healthy is Geno Smith versus Thurston Hall? Seattle's been playing good defensively if they play Arizona. Everybody else, not so much. And Minnie's they just killed the Bears. I watched that. They just killed the Bears. And, the Bears just look terrible. I'm hoping it goes to 2.5. I'll take Minnie in 3.5, but not at 3. I'm a little bit I don't know what to do with the rain as the total. Minnie, very good defense in Seattle. Geno Smith's kind of lousy, so I don't know what to do with this. We'll see. I need to get into my my tranche to make this pick. Jacksonville, Oakland, both Z teams. Oakland's a 1, 39.5. Mac Jones against, I don't know. Who's Oakland's quarterback? It's not Minshew. He's out. O'Connell, I think he's out. That meant Riddler. Riddler did quarter last game. I don't know if how bad, what was the game? Oh, they lost 19-14 to the Atlanta crap. If Penix was in, they would have won 35-14. They didn't have Max Crosby in Atlanta, couldn't score. This Kirk Cousins, I don't know. See, we know that he stinks. We saw him in Minnesota. He lost to the fucking Giants in a playoff game. At what point did he become good? I don't understand these guys, and they're paying him all this money. Although I saw the last year, it's $45 million, 0 guaranteed, and $45 million the year before. It's a 4-year deal, like $5 million guaranteed. So it's just the first year's guaranteed. But I can see what they did. They're not stupid. They know he sucks, but it was an upgrade from Riddler. And then when Penix was on the board, they weren't expecting it, so they had to take it, as they should have. So it's not like they thought Kirk Cousins was it. They knew Penix was good, and they didn't think they'd get him, and they needed a quarterback after last year. But it's still their defense sucks, so we'll see. I guess we've already talked. Yeah, Atlanta and the Giants. All right. So again, Crosby's out. Looks like Riddler against Jones. Jesus Christ. 28 defense, and without Crosby, who knows what they are. Play against the play. We don't care about the Jets. Oakland is 7-1 as a home dog. Play against 7-1 as a home dog, but now they're a home favorite. So all my trends. I don't know why I got the Jets in there 13-1. We know that, but this isn't the Jets. All right, San Francisco, Miami, both under teams, both 23 defenses. Pretty against Tag, no trends. Frisco's very rarely a road dog. Hey, Miami, it's hard to get the trends when Tagovailoa keeps getting hurt. So you end up where he's hurt all the time. So the Skylar Thompson's in, and it fucks the trends up. So it's almost like you need two trends. Give me the Tagovailoa trend and when he's not playing. And you need that for a lot of these. Jacksonville's totally fucked this year with Jones. Riddler. How do you trend Oakland? I mean, these are the real problems. Minnesota with Darnold, okay, looks good. You're starting to get a track on the Rams and the Jets and Philly, and now you got Daniel trends and Bo Nix trends, and now we're going to have Penix trends. So they're not enough sample size, although Denver and Washington we can do. Atlanta you can't do. Maybe, I mean, even if he blows out the Giants, it's the Giants, right? We'll see him against Tampa, what he does. Tampa Bay, Dallas, Tampa Bay over team. Put up 40 fucking points on San Diego. Are you kidding me? Over team, 24 defense. Baker's been on fire. They are 28-5 versus the number, 12-2 this year. Play against Dallas as a home dog, 5-0. So I would think Tampa wins this game. Dallas with Cooper Rush has been much better. An even team. The defense is 27, even with Micah Parsons. Hard to believe. A lot of injuries, and Tampa needs the game. Dallas is pretty much out, but they played well against Carolina, and they went to Washington and beat them. So I'm not doubting Dallas. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Tampa. But they should win. They are 28-5 in a teaser. Another 28-5 team, Green Bay, New Orleans. Green Bay, a B team. New Orleans, I think I got them as an under. 22 defenses. I guess Rattler against Love. Hard to believe Rattler's in the NFL. Hard to believe he got drafted. Hayner, I don't know. He was like 4 of 11 or something, and they pulled him. I don't think it's Hayner's fault. He's a good quarterback. The spread's 14. Jesus Christ, 42. The weather should be possible snow, but it's very minor. Again, Green Bay, 13-1 in a teaser this year, 28-5 in a teaser through last year, which works because you have Love in the coach. And 7-1 is a home favorite. Green Bay is very strong at home. This is such a big number, though. 14. Even if you tease it down to 8, what are you going to do with that? So they do need the game because you got Detroit and Minnesota. Well, I mean, they can both lose this week, although I'd be shocked if Detroit lost. Many could lose at Seattle. Green Bay still they're like the last wild card. Them and Washington, but they got Washington beat. And it'll be cold, but that's Green Bay, so we know that. So the question is, Rattler, can he do anything? It's hard to say. I mean, when there was 2 minutes left in the game, Washington takes over, or Washington misses a field goal, and then which would have put the game out of reach, and they're running the ball. They didn't even trust Rattler by throwing it. They run the ball. It's hysterical. So again, it's like Buffalo. They're both 14. They both are killers at home, but it's just like last week, Baltimore was laying 17. They won by 21. They did cover, but barely. See, again, Lamar has a good game against a weak team, but against Pittsburgh, he does not have good games, or Baltimore apparently, or against Philadelphia apparently. So things are starting to shake up. We got the playoffs. We got 3 weeks left. So your one seeds, Detroit, Minnesota, Philadelphia, are all tied for the one. They're all, what, 14-2? Or no, 12-2, 14? Yeah, 3 games left. And then in the other, KC's got it, provided Mahomes can play. They're 2 games up on Buffalo and 2 games up on Pittsburgh. And then you got Baltimore. Actually, 3 games up on Pitt, because Pitt lost to Philly. Baltimore lost to Philly. Pitt lost to Philly. Now they get to play each other. Pitt won the first game 18-16 in Pittsburgh. This game's in Baltimore. This is normally a very close series. Pittsburgh defense knows how to handle Lamar, and we will see what happens. You always get a little scared with betting against Baltimore, or, that's why usually I'll play it over. You never know when Lamar can go off, but then against Kansas City, he can't. I don't think I like that one. I like that one. There's my other one. 2. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I thought I had a fourth lock in here somewhere. Anyway, so I think 4 locks in the pros. I got 1 lock Saturday in college. So the plays are there. I've been so hot on the pros, 10-0 followed by 10-0. I mean, what are you going to do? So again, you can buy the week, or I'm trying to give a Christmas present. So for 200, you get the pros to the Super Bowl and the college to the Super Bowl, to the championship game. So if you don't want it, you don't want it. If you want it, it's there. It's a very good value. Obviously, it's $100 a week, and here you're getting 4 or 5 weeks. Anyway, so that's it. So tomorrow I have played Denver, San Diego. So if you are buying, please buy tomorrow. Don't wait till Sunday and then you miss that. And if you're buying both, now if you want both, we'll continue. It's normally $100. If you get the classes, it'd be $50. Now if you bought the bowls, for the 100, but you want the pros this week, it'd be 25 for the class, or 75 for the picks. Last day of work would be Monday for me, but I think I'll work from home Friday and Monday. So my partner who's there, another analyst that I can ask questions for, he's done today, so he's off. So I think I'll go into the office tomorrow, and then Friday and Monday I'll work from home, which gives me a lot easier data. I don't have to go in. It's much easier to be here. I'm used to it. I won't do class during the day on Friday or Monday. I will next week when I'm home, but it's just too, I can't, oh, wait, you're doing class while during work. What's going on? So I can't do that. I'll have to be available for work, but we will see. Anyway, so these bowls, just be careful with them. I did hit yesterday's. I had the over in the Memphis, and who the hell did they play? Memphis played Memphis, West Virginia. That was an easy over. It was 58. I went over 52 or 53, and they 42-37 game. That's more like it. Today, I actually saw the beginning. It was like James Madison wears blue, and Western Kentucky wears red. I never knew the colors of them. They were on, and then Cal Vegas, I think, just started. Tomorrow, Georgia Southern, Sam Houston. I don't think I'll play. And then Friday is Ohio, Jacksonville State. I have played that one. Tulane, Florida, I'm letting go. And then Indy, Notre Dame, I played. And then the 3 games on Saturday, I played all 3: SMU, Penn State, Clemson, Texas, and Tennessee, Ohio State. And we will see. Anyway, so that's what we got. And then we've got the Thursday night game. And then there's actually 2 Saturday games. The Kansas City, Houston, and Pitt, Baltimore are Saturday. So just keep that in mind. Who's my 4th lock? I locked 4 pros in 1 college. Yes. 2, 3, yes. You're the 4th lock. Okay. Aha. All right, I have 4 pro locks and 1 college. And I played the locks in multiple locks. So I got the lock played twice, the lock played twice, and that lock played twice. So I'm just doubling my locks. Not all of them, but one I got in one, and then I've got this team with another lock and this team with another lock. So the locks are in 12, which is what I've been doing anyway. I did that for every game last week, and obviously I won them all. So here's where I got to be careful, because the confidence is extremely high after going 29-2. Of course it is, but you got to be careful. You can't just play stupid games. You have to just stay in your trance and play what you feel and what should be played. Oh, that's a good pick. Like I said, when I looked at this Sunday night with you guys, or Monday, I had 6 or 7 locks, and really there's another game I can lock that I really wanted to lock. Actually 2 of them that I could lock. I haven't locked them yet, but I've been a little bit very curious about it. That I probably should lock it. This one I haven't played. Yeah, I haven't played this one game I really like yet. I got to feel it, but I think I loved it right away when I saw the line and the total. I said, yeah, that's a lock. So we will see about that. And now that we got Penix playing, I wasn't going to play Atlanta, but now I might. We will see. But that would be a good one too. Yep. So we will see. Weather looks pretty good. You got cold weather in Buffalo and Green Bay, and you got rain in Seattle, and everything else looks mild. And like Detroit, Chicago is mild, 30 degrees or 25, but it's not windy and it's not rainy or snowing. So for Chicago at this time of year, Green Bay is a maybe chance, very small chance of snow. It'll be cold, but that won't affect them. And we will see. They're playing well. Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit. It's not that they didn't play well; they were just outmatched. Josh Allen's going to make them look bad, sort of like how Lamar did last year. and we'll see. So that's what's going on with it. So I look for Detroit to bounce back. There's too much on the line. Their offense will just shred Chicago, but I just don't see Caleb. The question was, how do I play this game? Because the over is very tempting, assuming the Lions could get the over by themselves, right? So that's really what you're looking at. And then you go, well, Detroit needs it for the 1 seed and win the division. And their offense is still there. The Bears aren't going to do anything against that. But then it's Caleb. And can Caleb match? He looked good Thanksgiving in the second half, but I'm sure now they got more tape on that going, this is what Caleb does. And they'll be throwing blitzes all over the place because they don't have the secondary to guard them. So I look for that. I look for both ways there. I think you can go Detroit, and I'm debating the over if I'll get help from Caleb. So Detroit can win 35-0. You don't get your over. I just don't see Chicago winning. They could, but they won last year in Detroit on Thanksgiving, but that wasn't with Caleb. That was with Fields, which is even worse. But we'll see. It's games like that you've got to play the appropriate. Last week I had 3 or 4 games that I wasn't sure what to do, and I got lucky in the Philly Pitt game. I liked Pitt and the 12.5 or 11.5, and I would have lost it, but I had the under and I won the under. So I got lucky choosing the right side, but that's when you're 29-2, you get lucky like that. That's what happens. So anyway, enjoy today's one, so I still have time to post it, trying to get a feel, and then trying to look at these bowl games that I see, like Mikey Keene's not playing. So, okay, now I got to adjust Fresno State. I wasn't going to play him, and now maybe I will. Whatever. So that's what's still going on. So a lot of games posted, a lot of pros posted already. And then it'll be the same on college. It's just as we go. So all the playoff games are posted. And like I said, I played UTSA because of McCown's still there, and then the whole team they're playing left. Here's UTSA. They're playing Coastal Carolina. They're all gone. Quarterback's gone. The coach is gone. I don't understand the coach moving from Coastal Carolina to Charlotte. Like Charlotte is not really the class to go to. But anyway, you just get all this moving around. It's insanity. It shows you how stupid they are. Not only are the schools stupid because they don't know how to pick the coach, but the coaches are bad coaches that keep getting. Well, I mean, some of the good coaches keep getting promoted, like Indiana, the James Madison coach, who's now at Indiana, and they're in the playoffs. So that guy knows how to coach. And they locked him up. They gave him like an 8-year contract. Now, I don't know if that means anything because they break the contracts. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's your football. Questions, comments, let me know. Let's go. How's gold doing? 26.11. So it went to 25.88. And then China gets a hold of it, and there it goes. Silver, 29.48. Not really doing much, but here comes gold. It'll be back to 26.50. What's today? Wednesday, by Friday. The Chinese look at it as a buying opportunity because the demand for the gold is the key. As long as it's there, these derivatives are just meaningless. And that's what happens. So, that's what's happening. So tomorrow's payday and probably gold day or Friday. And I like this every week. I can go buy more gold and silver. I might buy the other half of my silver, the 2-ounce Canadians. If they're going to give it to me at 29, see, if you understand what's going on, it's a bargain. Now I can get it at 29.54. I can buy it at 31. When everybody thinks, oh, it's going down, gold and silver are going up. We know they're not. We know it's just derivatives, and we'll take advantage of the lower prices. That's just smart. Bitcoin, I wouldn't touch with the 10-foot pole. I don't know if they're going to try to make it money to pay the debt, but nobody's going to take it. If that's the case, why don't they just sell, go buy a bunch of Rolexes to pay off the debt? See, they want to print the money to pay off the debt because it's their own. They don't have to pay for it, but nobody wants it. So we will see. But if the market keeps going down, it's the foreigners who are pushing it down. You remember that there's $32 trillion in our stock market from the UK and Canada and China and Japan, probably Russia too. So they are dumping. They realize the dollar's going out, and that's the start of the crash. It's not going to be that, and then it's companies not going to make their earnings because when you create the inflation, you make the dollar worth even less. More people get laid off. More people can't afford half the items. I saw a thing on cars. I was on no, I was on the radio in the morning, and they were talking about car sales. And it's small cars they're starting to sell, but they're not. They're leases. So people can only afford that $200-300 a month lease. They can't afford to buy the car, and they're not buying the big SUV anymore. They're buying either very small SUVs or very small cars because that's where the market is. The market's at 20, 25, 30 grand. So these $60,000 big SUVs that they're trying to sell, nobody's buying. And then they're not even able to buy. Everybody's just leasing, and the companies lease because they can't sell their cars. They're sitting on a lot. They're costing them money to sit on a lot, so they get rid of it. But the interest rates are huge, so maybe leasing they can get a better interest rate. Usually, I thought it would be worse, but you're not selling houses and cars in this market. And I don't care what Trump says or does. He's a nationalist. That's not what you want in an economy. Austrian economy, each country makes something better than others, and uh, they make it cheaper than others. And that's what you want to do is let China sell you spices and let other countries sell you their stuff, the diamonds, the oil, the gas, and you need to buy them from the cheapest place. What are you doing with your labor? Why do you think it's in China? Because it's cheap labor. So we're buying cheap labor. So we're the biggest crux of it all. Why did we lay off all our auto workers to hire Chinese ones or Nike or any of these? We got cheap labor. So what are we saying? Well, yeah, we can buy cheap. We can give our jobs away, but when we want to buy it, it's got to be made in America. No, it doesn't work both ways. But the benefit is you got cheap labor. So you're saving all this money on cheap labor, and that way you should be able to buy it at a better price than if it's made in America because the labor's cheaper. So this is the problem. So this tariff thing is big trouble. It cannot work. You cannot raise prices or he's doing a secret tax. Well, we'll tax the tariff people. They're not going to do business with you. The BRICS people, the BRICS countries they don't want the dollar. They don't care if they have the U.S. as trading partners. In our own mind, we're the biggest, baddest country, and we're not anymore. And it's not China either. Um, I don't think there's one. I think it's BRICS, which is a conglomerate of countries, which is what it is. But so be careful. So cars, nobody's selling cars, nobody's selling houses. You can't lease a house, so you maybe rent a house, but the rents are very high. But nothing Trump can do. Maybe take some regulations, and we produce more oil if we can sell it to ourselves is a question. But the bottom line and the problem is the dollar is worthless. You must be very careful about that is the key. Because if that goes down, everything goes down because everything's in dollars. And that's why gold's so important because gold doesn't need the dollar to be worth it. Bitcoin does. The stocks do. The houses do, but not gold. Does not need the dollar to do anything. All right. I think that's good. Any questions, comments? Let me know. If you see the sell off more in the market and in Bitcoin, it's because people need money to pay margin calls or food and rent. They need the money, and you sell your assets. And most people are all stuck in stocks right now or Bitcoin. Although Bitcoin, I think, is being bought by that one guy, Sailor. I don't think the individual is buying Bitcoin. I think it's Sailor and Larry Fink and these big companies are buying a shitload. Like, I think it's more Larry Fink was taking people's money and investing it in Bitcoin and these ETFs. It was not the individual guy doing it. So Larry Fink's like Madoff. He takes all the money and he buys Bitcoin. The only difference is Madoff didn't buy anything with the money. I was kind of weird that he didn't buy gold with it. That I thought would have been a smart play by Madoff. But anyway, he wasn't a smart guy. And he was helped by the Russian mafia, believe me. He didn't do it on his own. He did it with the Russian mafia. The good old Russian mafia. That, and you're going to have a mafia, that's how you have it, the Russian one. Anyway, so loads of 5, 6 locks going this weekend. 1 in college, 4 or 5 in the pros. I can't keep track. 4, I think, in the pros. I could lock one other game. I want to lock it very badly, but I don't know what to do with it. It's a little bit high, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure I'll play it, but I just haven't locked it yet. The more I think about it, it'll. I gotta see it. It's like the Twilight Zone. When I see it in yellow, I see the final score, and then okay, I guess I can bet it. I did that a couple of weeks ago or last week. There was the Denver game. I just knew they were going to win. Don't ask me how. They were playing Indiana, and I just knew they were going to win, and they were down 10-0, and I didn't worry. And then it went 17-13 Denver. I said, that's it. Then it was 24. Then it was 31, and then okay, there we go. And it was just, but I had the yellow light go on that they were going to win. And it's been like that the last month where I just know it. But I know the teams now. See, that's the critical part, knowing the value of the teams, the A's, the Z's, the overs, the unders. That's the key to it. And in the NFL, they're very good with their totals. I've been having fun with their totals. They're way off, and I'm enjoying that. But be careful in the bowls. The playoffs are one thing that I can analyze. The whole team sitting out, I better catch that, and then I can go. Like Cal tonight, their quarterback Mendoza's already in the transfer portal. He ain't playing. He wasn't that good anyway, but so Cal was a pretty good team. So we'll see. I'm expecting it to go under. That was a play tonight, but we'll see. Anyway, I think that's it. So coming up on next week, I might go to Vegas, but I haven't. I don't know. We'll see. It's probably the best vacation to go to during Christmas. But I just don't like all this resort fees, and then there's no, I don't know, all this expensive food I'm not into. So just give me a hamburger, give me a corned beef sandwich at the deli at the Mirage, but it's gone. The Mirage is gone. The deli's probably gone. So that's unfortunate. Anyway, so have a good time. If you're traveling, be safe. It'll be a nightmare out there, I'm sure. And enjoy. So enjoy yourself. Eat healthy, but you can cheat, but just be careful. Do a little fast. If you do have a lot of sweets, just maybe don't eat till noon the next day. Let your body heal from it. But anyway, that's what's going on. So have a good day. Again, the $200 special, you get everything through the Super Bowl. And if you're like Todd and you bought already, you just pay the difference. You don't have to pay the full 200 again. So I got some bowl buyers. So I'll see if they want to play the pros. And then I got my weeklies who just, I know it's better, but I'll play the weekly. So what am I going to do? All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Da, da, da. So enjoy yourself. Be careful. All right. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.